Are you in Proverbs chapter 22? Make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man do not go, lest you learn his ways and set a snare for your soul. Proverbs 19:19. A man of great wrath will suffer punishment, for if you rescue him, you will have to do it again. Anger is one of the more talked about emotions in the Bible. Anger is the dynamite of emotions. It is explosive. And like dynamite, it is dangerous to the subject of the anger as well as the wielder. Did you know that anger has the biggest impact on heart health than anything else? More than depression or despair or any of those things or sadness. In fact, anger affects your heart more than high increased activity. When they interview people who are living to be 107, 109, 111, all that stuff, one of the common denominators, they ask them, so how did you live your life? I just tried not to stay mad at people. But the angry people die quick. But the Bible teaches something else about anger. The Bible teaches that anger itself is not a sin. In fact, God shows anger all the time. Read Jeremiah. God's angry. Read Revelation. A lot of wrath in there. Is God unrighteous? So anger in and of itself is not a sin. We do it wrong. The problem is that our anger tends to be too quick, too explosive, and too lasting. The Bible teaches that our anger should be slow, that it should be used with surgical precision, and that it should be very short-lived. Ephesians chapter 4. Let's look at verse 26. Be angry and do not sin, meaning that there are good things to be angry about. But in your anger, do not sin. And what's the advice that is given to us? Do not let the sun go down on your wrath. Don't stay angry for long. Turn to Matthew chapter 5. But I say to you that everyone who continues to be angry with his brother or harbors malice against him shall be guilty before the court. Anger will snowball on you if you do not deal with it. Turn to Colossians chapter 3 in verse 8. Now rid yourselves completely of all these things. Anger. The second thing it says is rage. In other translations, it might say wrath. The Greek word is thumos. This is that dynamite wrath. Explosive anger is dangerous. It will blow you up, blow your house up, blow your kids up, blow your spouse up, blow your job up. And when you're responding in anger, more often than not, the Bible explains, you're being foolish. So true anger that is built from love and not from self-interest, will respond to the sin more than the sinner. It will address the issue, which means it will be surgical, it will be targeted. How can I address the issue without destroying the person? It's a righteous anger. And finally, our anger should be slow. Turn to James chapter 1. Verse 19 says, So then, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. Why? For the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Our wrath, our version of anger, will never produce the outcome that God is looking for in any situation. So your anger should build slowly, over and over and over again. God says, I am a God slow to anger. In Proverbs chapter 14, verse 29, he says, He who is slow to wrath has great understanding, but he who is impulsive exacts folly. Proverbs 19:11. The discretion of a man makes him slow to anger, and his glory is to overlook a transgression. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 9. Do not hasten in your spirit to be angry, for anger rests in the bosom of fools. There's a certain type of anger that God thinks is a good kind of anger. It's the slow kind. You take your time, you consider, and in that time, we must remember the cross that says, I now live in God's divine long-suffering. And we must remember the resurrection that says, I am forgiven and made free. Therefore, I will forgive and make free.